No way you said he's almost bottom 10. Saying he just had 2 good games and rating Trevor almost bottom 10? LOL, credibility out the window. Guy finished top 10 in almost every category, and his receivers were top 3 in drops. So it seems like we have a guy who has a hard-on for stats. That's what that comment tells me. LMAO, is this video serious? Is this guy for real? Trevor Lawrence didn't have a good season. You clearly don't know how to evaluate or understand what's considered good or bad playing. Roll my eyes emoji. Okay, so it seems like in my Jacksonville Jaguars video, I left some anuses hurt. Some Trevor Lawrence fanboys got butt hurt because I said that I thought he could have been in my top 10 worst quarterback list, or thought he had a bad season or whatever. Haven't really gone back and watched the video. But I do know that I didn't really specify as to why I thought he didn't really have that good of a season. So I said that Trevor Lawrence could have been a top 10 worst quarterback in the NFL this past season because he turned the ball over too much. In the wild card game against Los Angeles, he threw 4 interceptions, all coming in the first half. I think his first 3 came in the first quarter. His first pass of the game was an interception. But Jacksonville still won the game. So I'm supposed to ignore his 4 turnovers? I'm just supposed to forget that those 4 turnovers didn't happen. In the game against Dallas before they went into overtime, Trevor Lawrence is trying to make a play, and rather than get down and slide, protect the football, and it gets stripped from him, almost costing his team to lose the football game, but luckily for him, his defense stopped Dallas and gave Jacksonville a chance to win the football game, which they did. But my point is, he turned the ball over again in a crucial moment. Let's see. In the game against Philly, he had 1 interception, 4 fumbles, and lost them all. I thought he showed bad pocket awareness in that game, holding on to the ball for too long. He thought he had way too much time, and against Philly's pass rush, you can't really think that you have all the time in the world to make a play. He had a fumble to where he's trying to escape the pocket, trying to make a play, but he just loses it without any contact. But it was a rainy day that afternoon, so I'll give him some slack on that one. Then there was that London game against Denver, where Jacksonville had a good drive. They're at the goal line. Trevor Lawrence tries to force a pass to his wide receiver. It gets picked off by Justin Simmons. But I'm supposed to think that he had a good season. Then there was a game against Houston. Same scenario. Jacksonville is at the goal line. Trevor tries to force a pass. It gets picked off once again. But I'm supposed to think that he had a good season. His accuracy was all over the place. First game of the season against Washington, balls were too high, balls were too low, balls would get batted at the line of scrimmage. He overthrew wide open receivers in the back of the end zone, but I'm supposed to think he had a good season. He showed that he struggled to push the ball down the field. Majority of his passes that he excelled at making were wide receiver screens, throwing it to Travis Etienne out of the backfield, screen plays, hitting guys in the flat, hitting guys on shallow routes and crossing routes. But when it came to pushing the ball down the field, he struggled. There were plays where he would try to give it to Evan Ingram. He couldn't really fit it into the soft spot of the field to where Evan had a DB in front of him and a linebacker behind him. Then there will be times to where Evan Ingram will be in between both DBs. Trevor Lawrence couldn't really put the ball to where it needed to be. He couldn't really he didn't really have too much of a touch pass to make those types of throws. He struggled to put the ball where only his receiver could get it. But I'm supposed to think he had a good season. I'm not supposed to think that he could have been one of the top 10 worst quarterbacks in the league, but I didn't, okay? Because I made a video where I had my top 10 worst quarterbacks for the 2022 season. Now, did Trevor Lawrence make some good plays? Of course he did. I think Trevor Lawrence has talent. I think that he will get it together. I think that next year he will figure it out, especially since Doug Peterson is his head coach. I think that he will be one of the more talked about quarterbacks for years to come. But specifically talking about this past season, I did not think he was that good. He was too inconsistent. He showed that he cannot push the ball down the field. He turned the ball over a bit too much. His accuracy was sporadic at times. So yes, that is why I thought that he would be a top 10 worst quarterback in the league. That is why I didn't think he had a very good season. So you fanboys, get his balls out of your mouths for like 2 seconds and try to understand where I'm coming from, okay? Pay attention to what you're watching, assuming you did watch the games and not just look at a stat sheet and say, how can you say he was top 10 worst quarterback in the league? Look at his numbers. Oh, and there's another ball juggler here. How I know you have no credibility, you didn't mention Calvin Ridley. You need to worry more about him. Christian Kirk is now our number 2. Do better. I love how that's the only thing you came away from, was the fact that I didn't mention Calvin Ridley. Yes, Calvin Ridley is going to be a wide receiver for Jacksonville, but I didn't mention him. Why? Well, let's see. Calvin Ridley. He hasn't played since 2021, and he only played for 5 games and started 5 games for Atlanta. And in those 5 games that he played, he had 3 drops, 3 drop passes. First year, he had 10 drop passes. But anyway, I didn't mention Calvin Ridley because he hasn't played since 2021. And I mentioned Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram was the fact that Trevor Lawrence has played a full season with both of them. So how do you know he's going to be the number 1 receiver for Jacksonville? Cousin T. So once you're done gargling Calvin Ridley's balls, you can sniff the back of my nutsack. I was contemplating on making a video like this because I was thinking to myself, don't give these clowns the time of day. But then I thought, you know what? It's content. I'll just use these clowns for my own gain, my own benefit. So yeah, that is why I thought Trevor Lawrence wasn't as good as a lot of people thought he was. The people who watched my video, and that includes the people who were like, basically were calling me an idiot for thinking that Trevor Lawrence was a top 10 worst quarterback, or could have been a top 10 worst quarterback. Thank you for watching my video. So if Trevor Lawrence plays like doo-doo next season, I'm going to come on here and talk about it, which I don't think he will. I think he will have a good season and do a better job of taking care of the football and pushes the ball down the field and making big plays for his team and helping them win football games. So please like and subscribe. That is it. I am out.